And now we're talking about the cleansing of data, right? Which in our discussion here is, my mind is thinking that's only a human. But then I correct myself and say, hang on, why couldn't AI purify data?
Yeah, I mean, taking like a step back, if you think like agriculture, for example, humans have been replaced by machines, but these machines, they were created by some other humans. So that's one step. Going into AI, I think that for the next few years, 3 to 5 years, I don't think that a lot of jobs will be cut, maybe a bit later. So I think it's going to be like a few years where machines like, AI and machine learning will collaborate with humans. So, humans, even as it happens today, like, with all whatever, like large language models happen, they have not replaced humans, but they are actually working with them.
Welcome to the Financial Frontiers podcast. My name is Dinos. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this channel. It helps us create more content and deliver more episodes for you. Hope you enjoy this episode.
Here we are, another episode on the Financial Frontiers podcast, and today my guest, Chariton Christou.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. Today our discussion is going to be mainly around your field of expertise, your strengths, what you've got your background on, and your company, which you've started up, co-founded, I think 7 months now, around artificial intelligence. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation. AI is a very important topic for me and a personal interest professionally as well, and also personally, Chariton, please give us a background about you, make an introduction here. Thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Thanks for inviting. It's a pleasure. So we just founded Boltzman Research along with my colleagues. It's been like 7 months. The expertise is mainly on AI and in the financial markets, but we cover the whole spectrum of AI. Going a bit back, so my background is in engineering. So I've studied and finished like a PhD in computational fluid dynamics, which is, we study how the motion of the fluid, and that actually was more related to mathematics, physics, and then I moved forward into like a position like a postdoc in dealing with European Space Agency project, which at that point in time was the Rosetta mission. So it was like a spacecraft where they sent into a comet, and it was orbiting the comet, and we collected the data. So that was my first touch with data science and how we can actually use data along with physics law. So I was running thousands and thousands of simulations to understand how the comets work and match them with what the Rosetta mission has actually collected. So that was the initial touch on the data science. And the natural question is how you end up in finance. So the connection, if you go back and you look, the most successful hedge funds in the world is that more than 70-80% of their employees they have a background in engineering, mathematics, physics, computer science, which as the one of the greatest quant trading firms founder Jim Simons said, it's way easier to teach finance to a mathematician and physicist than teach mathematics and physics to a finance guy. So that's that's quite natural, flow in the UK when I was at that point in time. So that's more or less a bit of my background, and then after that, I entered the the financial industry. I came back to Cyprus. I joined Tickmill as a senior, let's say, risk manager. Stayed there for almost 7 years. And then I co-founded Boltzman Research.
That's an interesting background, Chariton. Wow. So when were you a rocket scientist? In what year?
Yeah, I was actually like in 2016 until 2017, but I kept like my connections with the university until like 2-3 years ago. But when you have like a full-time job, it's a bit.
Sure. University, yeah, in Cyprus?
No, in Switzerland, University of Bern.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Where the atom collider is.
Yeah.
I guess that also makes sense. It's a lot easier for a rocket scientist to understand, financial markets and how it works, and then as opposed to going the other way around. So, PhD, I'll call you Dr. Chariton.
It's okay.
That's impressive, and I think that link, in terms of these two very different professions, how there is some form of a map. And, when you think about when people talk about money, they say money is energy and money should flow. It shouldn't stay stagnant in one place. It should continue to flow. And so, maybe there's a link there.
Maybe. We don't know yet. We're still trying to understand it.
Tickmill.
Yeah.
So you were there for 7 years. Tickmill is for those who don't know, is one of the bigger brokers in the industry, in the world. Don't think they offer their services to the US because the US is very tight in regulation, but generally a global player, a lot of volumes. Let's talk about Tickmill a little bit, I guess. Your background there, you started as a senior dealer, you mentioned?
Yeah, so I joined, Tickmill in 2017. And at that point in time, the owners and the management, they have taken like a very strategic decision. So, imagine that it was like 7 years ago. So they have decided to create like their own, more or less like quant team to manage the risk instead of the traditional what was happening at that point in time. Even now, actually, managing the risk, discretionary from the dealing room. So they have decided to create like a team of scientists. So they have given me the role of heading up this department and managing their risk. So we've started like in 2017. Tickmill at that point in time, if I'm not mistaken, was like roughly 30 employees, and when I left, I think, it's still growing. There are like 300 employees. So it was quite revolutionary because deciding to create like a quants team, because quants, they're quite expensive, not only in terms of salary, in terms of the tools that they need. You need huge computational resources, you need access to immense amount of data, so that's a cost for a company. And the way that it works is that we have taken the decision to focus on AI and machine learning, 7 years ago. So it was more or less when, for those that we know, OpenAI, it was just when this company was created. So we were also creating a department systematically managing the risk of Tickmill. So we focused on that, and we started slowly creating a company, acquiring data, having discussions with data providers, assessing the data, which, it took us quite a lot of time, to assess the data. Is it good? Is it bad? And now, we're in a position that we can actually say that, yeah, it's good or it's bad. Create our own models, create, model from scratch using state-of-the-art methods. And from that time, actually, the team was, naturally growing and managing the risk, mainly on the OTC products that Tickmill was and is offering, because they're also offering futures. But we were not actually involved in futures because it's a listed product, and that's a bit different. So the focus was on the FX, commodities, CFDs, all this kind of stuff.
Ingmar, Ilimaro, smart guys.
Yeah, they are actually.
And to think back then about using AI and building a quant team, I think just speaks to how they operate and the way they think and the success. But what would you say are the key contributions to the success of Tickmill? Since you lived it, right?
Yeah.
From a 30-man employees to 300. What would you say are the key contributing factors to the success of Tickmill?
Yeah, I think there are actually many. It's not just one or two. So, for example, the guys, Ingmar and Ilimar, you go to the office, and when they were in Cyprus, and they were there. They were, even from our side, even the guys, they are not quants. We had like every single day discussion about they were giving us, because they're experienced traders actually, because Ingmar and Ilimar, they were trading. When they started Tickmill, they were actually started it because they wanted to create like a fair broker, because they are also traders. So they had experience that in principle we didn't have actually at that point in time. So they were helping us, they were having discussion. They said, yeah, what if you look, instead of this, you look that. So that actually was how they were operating with us. And I'm sure they were doing in other departments like, marketing, finance, and, all this kind of stuff. So that's the one. The other thing is that they were every single day from the very first time until the very last time of the day. So, employees were actually viewing the owners of the company being in the office, being there to solve problems that they were arising. So I was many times in the office. So the team was lucky because we were in the same office with Ingmar and Ilimar. So we were having a view of the company as well, and they were helping every single employee. There were also Tickmill. The success is because the owners and the management actually, they are knowledgeable. In terms of the market, so they do understand what is trading, what are the market conditions, and everything. They were also treating customer quite fairly, I would say. I would say way fairly than what I would expect. So I was participating in a meeting where the liquidity provider, they have canceled some trades. But some traders, they made money, and the management, they have decided to pay these traders, because they said if we wouldn't, it wouldn't be fair to our clients. So they were and they are actually treating their clients quite fairly, I would say.
So I understand that, and I'll elaborate on that just to for people that might not have understood exactly what you said. Right, so a trader placed a trade with the broker.
Yeah.
The broker took that position with another broker.
Yeah.
That other broker cut them off on the profitable trade.
Exactly.
But the middleman, being Tickmill, didn't find it fair.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they accepted the shit end of the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't pass that on because they didn't see it fair.
Yeah, and it was quite a lot of money, I would say. No issue. The traders, they were quite, it was not any insider trading or whatever. There were guys that they were traders. They made some money, and Tickmill decided to pay them. And that was not just once. It was quite a lot of time that they treat clients extremely fairly. Even the order book and everything, it was quite clean and fair to the client. So that's another way to say how and why Tickmill is so successful. If you go, even now to compare their pricing and their commissions, I think it's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, commission and spreads combined to the traders. So that's another thing. They are also treating employees way nicely. Whatever. From our side, whatever we asked, we have it. So no question asked. So if they have a vision, because they have a vision of where the company is going, they will actually help the head of department, the employees, to grow and do whatever it has to be done so the company will succeed.
A lot of those key ingredients you gave it's not the first time, if you dig into these things, why is a company successful? It's all of these things. Hard work, fair, smart, work hard, work smart, be fair, customers important, treat your employees properly.
Yeah.
You mentioned before where in your work with as one of the quants in Tickmill that you were analyzing the data and this trying to differentiate between bad data and good data. What defines bad data?
Yeah, it can be whatever you actually can think of. So let's take it, for example, when we talk about a different types of data, what we call alternative types of data. So that could have how many tons of oil they have been in a ship. So there are companies that they can give you actually quite precisely, how many tons of oil there in this ship, from which port has left, where it's going, if there is any delay, etc. So that we said, okay, let's analyze this data. It's quite fascinating. You can know actually supply and demand with that way or the other. But that actually we ended up finding that there's something wrong because we couldn't find anything, or we could find like a quite way alpha, like 100% returns a year from these trading models. And then we said, okay, something is going wrong, and what we find out was that the data that they have provided us, they were not accurate point in time. So you end up today, and the ship, let's say it leaves Saudi Arabia to go, I don't know, to Cyprus, let's say. So and that actually is full of oil. So if today is parked, outside of Egypt, and tomorrow is coming to Cyprus, but the expected, is, I don't know, today to arrive in Cyprus, they were backfilling the data, that company. So that's just one simple example where you don't have accurate point in time data. Another, way to find issues with data is that let's assume that there is a broker that has a price and there is a spike in the price, which if you're in real time, you will see this huge spike. But that it becomes because of an error, whatever that could be. It could be a glitch in their servers or whatever. If you are trading live with them, you're gonna see that. But actually, when you request the historical data, that issue it wouldn't exist. So that's also another way to find issue in the data. So that actually we could spend quite a lot of time to clean the data and then analyzing them and then creating some ideas.
In this era we're living, and AI, and we're going to get to discussions about AI and your take on it. But just off of what you just mentioned, I think one of the most important things, for sure, if it's already happening, is that in most of the job, in terms of having efficient AI solutions, is that the data is correct, is that it's accurate. Because, this mass processing, very quick analyzing of data to give you some meaningful output is only as meaningful as how pure and clean and accurate that data is. It just makes so much sense, and that I think becomes even a whole other profession on its own.
Yeah,
the cleansing of data.
Yeah, even in our team, we have people that their job is just to clean the data, even as it sounds, and sometimes it is a bit boring. So if you take hedge funds, they have like teams that their job it's not just one. They have like certain teams that their job is actually to clean the data, find issues, And then, the thing is not that, I found an issue. Okay, you have few questions and to answer. So let's assume that we have like an Excel where you have like tabular data, because that's what we're dealing today. We have like tabular data, which is, for those that they don't know, it's like just an Excel where you have rows and columns. Okay, and then you have like a row which has an issue, and it. Then the question is, okay, how I am dealing with. Am I going to delete it? Am I going to actually correct the numbers with an average? Am I going to fix with a fixed number? So that's another question that you have to answer, and that is also a quite difficult question to answer, which I cannot answer to you.
Yeah, talking about this just brings up many different questions for me, like how is AI going to disrupt the job market, moving forward? And there's some studies, this McKinsey report where it says, some jobs will become completely obsolete, while, others will be morphed or replaced, in some way or form. And that scares a lot of people. But, if you think before robotics and machines that have disrupted agriculture, right? So before you'd need humans out in the field, sweating, tired, and only able to do so much one human at a time. And now, you've got these massive tractors that just go and plow and then, mass production, because we need to maintain the current status of humanity with everybody being overfed instead of underfed.
Yeah.
It's a new problem. So, and now we're talking about the cleansing of data, right? Which in our discussion here is, my mind is thinking that's only a human. But then I correct myself and say, hang on, why couldn't AI purify data?
Yeah, I mean, taking like a step back, if you think like agriculture, for example, humans have been replaced by machines, but these machines, they were created by some other humans. So that's one step. Going into AI, I think that for the next few years, 3 to 5 years, I don't think that a lot of jobs will be cut, maybe a bit later. So I think it's going to be like a few years where machines like, AI and machine learning will collaborate with humans. So, humans, even as it happens today, like, with all whatever like large language models happen, they have not replaced humans, but they are actually working with them. So, there are going to be like a few years where humans will be with machines, and then I honestly think that machines AI will replace some jobs. So, for example, if we take like the financial markets, they're actually each broker, they have their own back office system. But if you look, like the trend is that the AI and the machine learning will actually get the documents from a trader that it has been signed up. It will check them, and it will pass them to a human, which for the next few years, it will press that, they are correct, instead of having someone, typing, that's Chariton Christou, that's the ID. Where you can have like a machine learning where it can read it and it can insert it. So that's, I think, for the next 3 to 5 years. And then I think, some jobs, they will be replaced by AI, but some other jobs, they will be created actually in AI and machine learning. They will be more like in the science, computer divisions. That's the area that I expect to be created, the jobs.
So some form of like an augmented reality where with wearables, or you've seen Elon Musk's Neuralink, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They actually implanted that in a human recently who was is paralyzed,
Yeah.
I think, and this person is not able to play one of his favorite games just by thinking of the moves that he wants to do. I can't remember which game it was, but
Yeah.
that's incredible stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean that's maybe too early to think, but it certainly shows where we will be like in 10, maybe 15 years max from now. So in case someone wants to have this in their brain, they can be done. I think maybe the future is augmented reality, with having everything on on your eyes, maybe even on the glasses. So that's maybe the future, but we still need some time there.
Yeah. I think, opening someone's skull and, operating on the brain may be too intrusive for many. And I think I agree with that. It's more wearables, more, which you wear on the outside, contact lenses that read on different things. And augmented reality. Did you see the latest ChatGPT 4.0?
Yeah. I mean, we are actually, kind of interested in the whole spectrum of AI and machine learning. So, I mean, what the guys are doing, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, at OpenAI. So it's not like any other company that, operates in that space. So I think OpenAI is a few years ahead of if we compare it with companies that they have created other large language models like Mistral, or even Metas, or even Elon Musk Grok, I think. So they are a bit ahead. And if you compare like GPT-4 or GPT-4 with GPT 3.5, you will understand the difference. So I think, we have to expect a few things from GPT-5, but what we see in GPT-4 is what we, what comes actually, that in real time it can analyze video, text, everything. And, that's in the area of general AI. And if you see AI models, they're actually huge. And I don't know if you have seen how much does it cost to train this model. It costs like a lot of millions just to train them. So it's impossible for us actually to compete them. But what people are doing is that you're fine tuning them. And I see that, in the next, I would say 2 years, these models, they will be applied into finance. Like, okay, can this analyze some financial markets? The question then, okay, where is the alpha? Because everyone has it. But yeah, I see that for the next few years, they're going to be like combination of traders and these models.
Let's talk about Boltzman Research, because this is the company you've co-founded. And I think financial markets is what you're looking to disrupt with AI.
Yeah, that's...
And so I guess this question from me is, how do you see AI disrupting the financial services industry?
Yeah, so starting from Boltzman, so along with some other colleagues, we co-founded Boltzman Research. It was co-founded like 7 months ago. So the area of our expertise and where we are actually interested in is AI and the financial market. So what we would like to do is that we try to connect these two different areas. So for example, if you take financial markets, it's one area by itself, and AI is another. So we try to bridge this gap and bring new opportunities to the market. So that's the area that we're interested mostly. I think AI will take like a lot of this, what we call financial markets. So I think like 70, maybe a bit more percentage of what is being done in the financial markets, it will be done by AI. It doesn't mean that, someone has to develop this AI. And because we're in the financial markets and, you have to have an edge against your competitor, whoever it is, if it's like a hedge fund, or if it's like a liquidity provider, if it's a trader, if it's a broker, you have to have an edge. then we are going into what we've seen and what we've talked before, that each company will have their own AI team. So if we go back, Tigman has created their quants team like 7 years ago. But if you go and see all the brokers now, they have started creating their own quants team. So that's what I expect to be done. That traders will have the assistant of an AI model, and then an AI model will take decisions, but it will not only be in trading, in risk management, which is what we actually cover, in these two areas, but also in other things like maybe even in sales, actually, it will actually, for example, prioritizing the call of a sales guy. So you have Chariton, which is a sales guy, and it has to call like 20 possible users that they will sign up at a broker. Then the question is at what who should call first, then second. So there is going to be like a model which is actually going to prioritize the calls. Then it will be another model that it will actually give a score to each of these calls, because it will listen and will give a score, and then it will be a feedback saying to the sales guy, if you was about to say this, then what will be different than in marketing actually of the financial services. So for example, all these companies that create banners, then it will be like different banner that you create for Europe than in Asia than in Africa. So the colors will be different. So I expect all of this to happen, even though most of them, they have slowly started to happen.
If we, in my view, if we had to compare, AI to a different period in this technology phase of humanity, which is disrupting, how we live, and just generally disrupting how humans operate. In my mind, AI, and you've just touched it, is actually something that I was thinking about yesterday, because it's new, not all companies have embraced it, but those who have, and those who understand, and those who have not, will soon understand that it's not being innovative anymore. It is almost a necessity to survive.
Yeah.
You need to have some form of AI optimizing your business, just like in 2002. Many businesses did not have a website.
Yeah.
And that's today, like, how can you not have a website, or a social media handle, whatever. That's just not possible. Many businesses still don't, but the majority have websites now. It's become almost a necessity. And AI is definitely going down that direction, in my opinion. And it is for each business that, the more nuances you add to the AI model or the GPT or whatever it is catered for exactly your business, is exactly what each business needs to do.
Yeah, taking like something out of the shelf and using it wouldn't work. Actually, it's like trying to trade. To make your own money with someone else's idea. It wouldn't work actually. And in AI, it's the same. So the way that it will actually happen is each company will have to have their own models, either by outsourcing it into a company that knows how to do it, or by creating a team. Of course, creating a team is it's a bit costly, difficult. You have to find the people that they will have to understand the market, they have to understand AI and do it, or even outsource it and then have a tailored model. Either it's a trading, either it's a large language model, or whatever it is, for your own business, for your own, let's say, division. That's where I think humanity will go the next few years.
And I'm going to use this opportunity, since DGM, which is
Yeah.
my company, sponsors this channel. I'm going to do a bit of promotion of DGM. Why not?
Of course. Yeah.
So in our line of business, we focus on managing brokerages technology,
Yeah.
right? All the different technologies that they use. And so obviously that service comes with different operational, let's call it, procedures that you need to do, which includes obviously connecting to the trading platforms, performing some form of configuration, finding some piece of information, etc., etc. And so we're putting a lot of attention on how can AI optimize the role of platform administration,
Yeah.
such that we're able to manage many more brokers at scale, because we've leveraged off of AI.
Yeah.
And so when you've trained this model where whatever question, and the advantages, the companies that are involved in a specific industry have the advantage of having access to a lot more information, data, in their domain of focus.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of information in our domain of focus. What questions are asked of admins? What do admins do on a generally on a daily basis? What tasks are created? What are rinse repeat things? What are mundane, really easy to automate tasks, etc., etc. And so plug in AI and optimize our workflow as best as we can.
Yeah.
And so I think at Boltzman, so let's talk about you now, right? And let's promote Boltzman.
Yeah. So Boltzman was founded, because of Ludwig Boltzmann, which the whole team we admire. So for those that they don't know, so Ludwig Boltzmann was a physicist, and it has created the well-known Boltzmann equations that they are actually describing the motion of a fluid by taking into account the particles of it. So
when you say fluid, and I'm sorry to interrupt there, what fluid do you mean? Like water? Or
like water, like air.
Anything?
Yeah.
Air is a fluid.
Yeah. So the thing is that
fuel.
Yeah. But however, they are actually the question is, it goes back. So when we say fluid, when you have like a water or a fuel, you have more molecules. Okay, so it's way the computational cost is way higher because we have to take track of each molecule and take the collisions, temperature, velocity, and everything, and then create the motion fluid. However, the Boltzmann equations, they are actually applied in all these kind of fluids like water and everything, but it's computationally expensive to calculate it. But when we talk about air, for example, it's a bit easier because the molecules and the particles are not so many. So, but even today, for example, all these equations, they do exist there, and they have a perfection in them. So that's why we like Boltzmann, and that's why we named the company Boltzmann, because we would like to have the perfection that Boltzmann had in his equations, to have this perfection in predicting and managing risk in financial markets. So that's the story behind it. In order to use, these equations of Boltzmann, you have to use high performance computers. And otherwise, it's going to take you ages to run it on a simple like laptop, and that's what we actually do. So even in our daily basis, we use huge capacity in terms of computational capacity in Boltzman Research, and we would like to have this perfection in predicting the financial markets.
Be water, my friend.
Yeah,
you predict the markets, right? So
yeah.
That's interesting. And I think when it comes to innovation and how we how do we innovate? We look at use cases that can be mapped across a different domain. It might not have any correlation in its sense. So, and as bizarre as that sounds, that the science behind fluidity and the motion and the molecules within a liquid and air could somehow be mapped into the way money moves.
Yeah, I mean, if you take like the motion of a fluid, that they have this randomness in them, and it's more or less the same like financial markets actually. So that's why I said earlier that you will see some hedge funds having employees that they are actually scientists, because you have this house theory and how it could be applied in the financial market. Because if you see like a financial market, the move of an asset is more or less like a random. So you have this random walk. So there is actually a connection between fluid motion and financial markets motion. So, and in principle, the way that I entered the financial market, I mean, to be employed, it was because even Tickmill, they have seen this connection between modeling fluid motion with modeling financial markets motion.
It's fascinating to even try and think that, and this is my understanding, my take, where if you had to take a container of water and that water is sitting still, there's been no disruption.
Yeah.
So in correlation, mapping across, financial markets are calm. And then you throw a stone in it, and that's a disruption or a black swan event. Yeah. And then that causes some kind of a ripple. And that wave is going to eventually come across the other side of the container where the stone was, landed. And then that can be some form of a prediction.
Yeah.
So the water here is going to rise because of what's happened. And it's so fascinating how you can somehow, for people who go really deep, right? Is what I understand is what you're doing at Boltzman, in understanding, being able to predict where those waves are going to come.
Yeah, I mean that's what we try to do actually at Boltzman. So we try to view the markets from the scientific perspective instead of this random motion. So we compare ourselves, to some scientific organizations where they use various scientific methods to predict and to understand financial markets, whatever you name it, big hedge funds. So in order to be in that position, we have to have few ingredients. So one is the employees. So we are a team of scientists. So majority of us, we have a PhD, or we're nearly the completion studying a PhD. We have people that have worked in big organizations like Goldman Sachs, for example. That's the one. Then you have to have the technology. So how you run this simulation and how you train an AI model requires like a huge capacity in terms of GPUs, CPUs, memory, and everything. And then you need also data. So you have to have access to this data to understand, okay, this motion, why is happening? Who has disrupted the market? Is it going to be permanent or non-permanent? So that's what we actually doing on our everyday life. We also care, about latency. So, for example, it's different when you predict the market now than when you predict the market like in 1 minute later. So we try to have the prediction in like few milliseconds. I would say.
Let's dial a bit back, and in layman terms, like as as an easy description as you can compose.
Yeah.
Because it's complex what you do.
Yeah.
So what exactly is it that Boltzman Research is doing? What offering do you have for brokerage firms? What is it that you're doing for them? How are you optimizing their business exactly?
Yeah, so Boltzman has two legs. The one is the asset management, where we manage assets like systematically, like a proper like one hedge fund, and the other one is that we optimize the risk management of a retail FX broker. So what we do there is that we actually get into their having access into their pricing, and we optimize that price. So 9 out of 10 brokers, if not 10 out of 10, what they do is that they take like liquidity from like a broker, which could be like a prime broker or a prime of prime brokers, and they actually aggregate this. The bid who has the bid ask, they go into at the top of the book, and then this is distributed to the retail. However, this actually, it has the view of the broker, of the liquidity provider, view of the market, and it protects the interest of that liquidity provider, nor the broker. So what we do is that we come there, we use custom-made develop AI models to optimize this pricing for the benefit of the broker and sometimes for the benefit of the end user, which could be like, a retail client. So that's how we do it. Of course, it's way simple, this description, but we use state-of-the-art models, and we actually try to have it as fast as possible and be optimized for the benefit of the broker.
Listen to that, liquidity provider. And we were talking about fluid markets, and
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a very fitting name.
Yeah, because liquidity, you create liquidity,
Yes.
and it's interesting when you're trading. Actually, some prime brokers, because we're actually trading, they are asking, are you adding liquidity or are you removing liquidity? So
Adding or moving?
Removing.
Removing.
So they consider removing when you're aggressively trading with market orders. So that actually they consider it that you remove liquidity from the market. Because
Can you expand on that? So
yeah. So when you are a trader, in MT4 and MT5 or any platform, you view the prices and the top of the book. However, there is this whole book, and there is at the top of the book, it could be like maybe 100 to 1 million. Then you go to the second layer, third layer. When you trade when you want to trade like aggressively, like 5 million, it means that you will take the liquidity, which is at the top of the book and maybe at the second layer, and it means that you have removed this liquidity from the market. So what it was at the third layer, it will become at the first one. So you have removed that one. However, when you actually submit a limit order that you want to buy like this amount of at this price, it will be matched with a limit order on the other side. So that's what the liquidity providers view as adding liquidity, because you have added a position, like removing it aggressively. And that aggressiveness, it's actually come at a cost, actually. So, but however, you might want to buy something immediately because you think that in the next 10 milliseconds, the market will change. And we actually trade on both, actually. We trade on limit orders and on market orders. And, it's quite fine, but you have to find where is the optimum. And that's actually what Boltzman does on the side of brokers. We try to optimize the pricing for the brokers instead of leaving them alone aggregating prices from liquidity providers and giving it to the market, because the broker has to have a view of their own book and a view of the market. They have actually to combine these and offer to the clients their view instead of taking the liquidity from various liquidity sources.
Yeah, just to break that down and in the way I understood it, and perhaps maybe give it in a more simple description of what you just said, is when you mentioned that 1 million or 2 million and top of book and the layers beneath, what that basically means is how much available volume there is at the given price that is the best of the price. That's why it's called top of book.
Yeah.
there's so much volume available, meaning the liquidity that people on the other side are willing to sell at that price is what's the available liquidity at that given price. And then the next best is that second band is what the next group of people or traders giving a not such a good price are willing to take it at a lower price, and then so on and so forth. And so when one person comes and gives a really big order, sweeps up the top layer, that's he or she has removed the liquidity from the top. That makes a lot of sense, and I'm describing it here. And then adding liquidity is a limit order, where when you give a limit order, it obviously means that you don't want the current price, because that means it's an instant market order. Because the price is there and what you want. Your target price is something else, which is better. And that comes lower down on the bands. And so there's more available
to the other side also
liquidity,
to trade.
Yes.
So I might submit a limit order to buy something that I'm saying that, hey, I'm willing to buy 100 shares of a company, I don't know, let's say Google, at this specific price. And then the other side might come and say, hey, I have these shares and I can sell it to you. So that means that I have added the liquidity and I have not aggressively taken it. So that's more or less what we said about aggressiveness in terms of trading.
And this is actually a trick that many manipulators in the market, where they go and they've got access to a lot of capital, and they can push the price, which is illegal.
I mean, it's even if you take like the accurate data in terms of listed exchanged products, you will see actually that there are actually some spikes. Okay, that might not be illegal, but what is happening, there is what we call arbitrage, where you actually buy an asset in one exchange and you sell it in the other. So, you're pushing the price and it's doing this immediate spike. Okay, and then that's another thing that, should I treat it like as an outlier, or should when you're trying to train a model, or should I treat it like it is what it is? So that's another question. And you have these events as well, in financial markets.
And so just back to how your service at Boltzman Research benefits both brokers and traders. Your model, which is a proprietary model, is able to almost predict what is going to happen in the market, and then it adjusts the price, the current price, towards that prediction.
So it's purely systematic. So it's not that we intervene at any given point in time. It more or less runs 24/7 or 24/5 actually. And what it does is there is a prediction which comes from analyzing huge amount of data in real time. We take like a decision within, I would say, 20 milliseconds, and then we actually have a view of the market. With this view, we adjust the price, and then it's actually up to the user and the broker. The broker will more or less take that decision and apply it and send it, and then it's up to the user to understand, the price and take the decision. Some users, they might say, this price is not favorable, so I'm out. Because, what we say internally is that as a trader, actually, you have the option not to trade. And it's actually good. While as a liquidity provider, in principle, you don't have this option. You have to be there and providing liquidity to the market and to the brokers. So there are some other traders that they say, that's this change that we do is quite beneficial for me, and then I'm gonna take this order and either submit limit or market order. It's up to them.
Let's talk a little bit about the disruptors in the industry, right? The big players, the OpenAIs, the Googles, the Amazons, the Elon Musks of the world. And Sam Altman, this is not recent news, but it was definitely a disruption in recent history, a few months ago, where Sam Altman was pushed out of his own company that he started up.
Yeah.
So, reminded many people of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
But Steve Jobs returned many years later, and then just proved his point that he was important. But with Sam Altman, it was a very quick weekend.
Yeah.
Just a few days out, and then straight away back in. And whoever tried to get him out got punished.
Yeah, actually.
So, what's your view on Sam Altman and his exit, very quick re-entry?
Yeah, I mean, there are like two rumors in terms of the Sam Altmans. The one that says that they have created something that it was out of human control, and that's why the board of directors, they wanted to push him out because he was more or less responsible for that. And the other one was that, they have some conflicts and, that's normal, and they tried to push him out. I honestly don't know. I wished I knew, but I don't. However, the most interesting one is what happened after. So if you take in that, so he was pushed. He was offered actually the position of CEO of Microsoft AI, which I think initially they agreed, and then they said that okay, he will return to OpenAI. Also interesting is that Microsoft, he learned about the news few minutes actually before it goes public. So that's, you have invested, I think they have invested like 10 billion
yes.
in OpenAI, and you don't know anything about the CEO of the company. But what shows us is that I think 770 employees, they sign a letter that they will resign if Sam Altman leaves. And I think that's where the not only the industry, but the employment goes, that, people, they have, like a mentor, and they will follow him or her actually. And that shows, that, hey, as Sam Altman, I did what I could do, and, I treated, the employees with the best, condition that I could. And then actually, all these actually not only is not Sam Altman, but it's actually the employees, they have the power to make him return, and at the same point, the board to resign and get a new board. So it shows that employees in our days, they have actually some power that they might not even know actually.
I agree. And at the end of the day, and this is many people's opinion, not just mine, the people are what make the company.
Yeah.
Treat people right,
Yeah.
And it paid off for Sam Altman for sure.
Yeah, you could see that, But going back, at OpenAI, they have created something, that is quite fascinating, and it works, and it's not easy to do that.
It's incredible. Definitely changed a lot of the way I work.
Yeah, and of course, there is this discussion about where the AI is hitting, and if we're close to Gen AI, where models they will be able to think of. Some people like Jean LeCun from Facebook AI team believes that we are actually way ahead, like few years. 5 to 10 years before reaching Gen AI. Where some other people they think that these large language models, they are actually not what humans are doing, but they might be able to have like a reasonable thinking with a different way, because the way that they are working with these LLMs is that they take this this word and they try to predict the next one, and this one to the next one, and it goes on. So there is also this debate where are we hitting? Where personally I think we are actually, I would say I am on John Legu's side that we are a few years away from reaching Gen AI. They will become better and better and better. And I think the next step is not that they will become better, but they will also become lighter. Like, they're not huge and you will need millions of years to train them, but they will be lighter and it will be easier to fine tune them. Like, I don't know, you take something that you're gonna fine tune it for, for programming, for some other task, and something else from other task. So we went from having models for each specific task, going to a more generative one, and then from that, I think we will go back to more specific one, but they will be, lighter in terms of the size.
Yeah, Gen AI is such a. When we reach Gen AI, it means that machines are able to think like humans. That's what it generally means, and is able to do a multitude of different tasks and think for itself, and not be trained on one specific niche. And the more and more people go in and create a niche AI version of whatever it does, when you take all of these different niches and you combine it into one, well, what are those? Those are different skill sets that a human is able to do. You combine it into one. Now you're getting closer to general AI, right? So, and a lot has already progressed, like autonomous cars. So humans can drive, so can machines. Language. ChatGPT's got very good language ability, perhaps better than most in terms of grammar. Well, humans can speak and communicate. And then whatever it is that you look at, I think what gets more tricky is, the physical world, like the dexterity in our fingers, where we're able to, for example, fold the clothes. We still need a maid, or you need to do work errands, home errands, work at home. But there will come a time where, robots can replace and do perhaps even better. There's in university that are very into robotics. I forget the name of the university, with a robot twisting, and doing backflips and things, and incredible stuff. Right, and Elon Musk also.
Tesla, I think.
If you read his book, it's incredible. So he's busy. He's building this bot, and this is where I got where I'm getting it from his book, where the dexterity of fingers, and he's building that. Tesla is building that robot, where there's so many big businesses, massive corporations with a lot of money behind them that are spending a lot on doing these things, and it's interesting where we're going to go. I unfortunately have a hard stop here, Chariton. I have a lunch in 5 minutes, and I do wish I did not, because we could be speaking for a lot more. But we've been here for already an hour. Let's do some closing comments here. I don't want to be too late for my next guest. Please tell people that are listening the future plans of Boltzman Research, where they can find you, and I'm sure moving forward we may work together. Let's see.
The future of Boltzman Research is that we grow. So we're like a team below 10. So the plan is to grow to 20 scientists at the end of the next 2 or 3 years. We are also planning to cover the whole spectrum of financial services using purely AI and machine learning And we hope that we will develop some disruptive models that they manage actually the risk, and we contribute to the profitability of a broker like in a quite high margin, and with accuracies that they exceed actually like 80%. So that's a goal that we have set internally, and the another target that we have pulled is to increase our assets under management like significantly, and then anyone can reach us at boltzmanresearch.com, or they can find us on LinkedIn. Have a discussion how we can optimize the risk and the pricing of retail FX broker, and show them what AI can do in this space, and we're happy if we can collaborate on one day.
Thank you. Yeah, one question I was going to definitely ask, but we don't have time, is why can your solution work for OTC or FX or CFD products and not for futures?
I mean, futures is actually a listed product, and it's what it is at the market. So it could work. It's not that it couldn't, but in order to work, we have to connect to the exchange and perform be like a market maker, which is not. It's not that it's not included in our plan. So we have also plans, to how we can become like a liquidity provider, how we can become market maker, and offer such solutions. But we're a few steps away from that. So that's an area that we will cover. Where in the OTC, it's an OTC product. So you can come with a price. I can come with a price, and given that the prices are more or less closed, then it's considered okay. While in the future and in the exchange listed products, then we have to go into the exchange and be like a market maker with whatever that is. It could involve really low latency applications.
Sure. Thank you very much, Chariton, for your time.
Thank you for your time and inviting.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and that's a wrap.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Remember to hit the like button. Comment down below if you have any guests you'd like me to interview, and any topic you'd like me to discuss in future episodes.